Okay, let's look at this worksheet with tax objective 1. First off, you should have done this problem, and now you're coming back to check it on your worksheet. What you're going to do in this case, I want to remind you that this is the x, this is the y. Okay? So it's asking you which one is not correct. So let's find the ones that are correct. So for example, if I go through and I look at this, I have 1 and 2. 1 and 2 go together. 2 and 4, 3 and 6. This one is correct. It's good. So now to graph this, 1, 2, over 1 and up 2. Uh-oh. This one is 2, 1. They have the points backwards. Our answer ends up being this right here. The next one, it says, which is always a correct conclusion about the quantities? Well, when you're talking about always, if you can find one thing that makes it not true, then you're good. So I'm going to go and put in my calculator. Anytime I have it, I'm going to go and put in there x. Let's see here. Let me go in here, and I've got x plus 4. Second graph. I would go in, and even if I didn't have a calculator, I would make a table with these points. The very first thing says the x variable is always 4 more than the y. It says the x is 4 more than the y. Well, that's not true right here. The y is more than the x. So this is not true. It says when the x value is negative, the y value is negative. Well, look here. Negative and positive. So that's not true. I found one that doesn't work. Looking at D, it says as the value of x increases, I did jump to D, as the value of x increases, the value of y decreases. X is going up. Y is going up. Wait a minute, that said that y was decreasing. Well, no, when x increases, y increases, so it's not that. It says the variable y is always greater than x. If you go through the whole table, you will find that the y value is always bigger than the x. So your answer would be C. Now on your next one right here, okay, and even if you don't have the paper, you can pause this and look at it and see if you can figure it out before I talk about it. Right here it says the Alejo family, I'm sure I said that wrong, budgeted $2,000 for their vacation. Their budget consisted of $800 for travel costs and $75 per day. Okay, here's going to be where I put my variable. So I've got 800 plus 75 per day. Now why is it plus? Well, it's plus because when you're budgeting, you're spending. Their budget consists of $800 total for traveling, and then they're talking about however many days adding $75 on there. Well, so it's not going to be this one. And if you want to talk about their budget, well, you want to stay less than or equal to however much money you have. So if I go and look, the only answer that they have is right here in letter A. Number 4. It gives you a table, and it wants you to find out what the equation is. Now, one way to do this is go in your calculator, go to y equals, and put in there each one. So like I would go in here and put x minus 10. Whoops, there we go. Second graph. And I would try and match up all these points. Negative 2, negative 12. Yep. 0, negative 6. Nope, that says 0, negative 10. So it's not A. So I would go through and match it up. Now actually, even if you didn't have the calculator, if you looked at this 0, negative 6, you would know that this is the y-intercept, the last number. Well, wait a minute. That is an 8. That's not going to be it. That has a negative 8. That's not going to be it. This one has a negative 6, so I bet if I put that in there, it would give me my answer. My answer is C. Next one. It says that Jerome received a gift card for $20 for rentals, but the cost of renting a video is $250 for each video. Well, my equation is going to be $20 minus $250x. Go in, you either work this out and find out what's in the table, Or I go in the calculator right here and I'm going to put 20 minus 2.5x second graph. I start at 0.20, 0.20, that one doesn't start there. The rest of them are okay. I've got 1 and 1750. Well, this one says 1 and 15. That's not D. 1 and 1750, yes. That says 2 and 1750. It's not B. 1 and 1750. Okay, well, let's look. I've got just these two tables now, and they both got a 2, so let's see what the 2 says. 2 and 15. 2 and 15. 2 and 15. Let's see about 3. 3, it's 1250. 3 says 1350. Now this one doesn't have a 3, but it does have a 4. 4 and 10. Sure is. I don't have to go any farther. I've eliminated everything else, so the answer is A. The next one, it says the temperature in degrees Celsius is 5/9 the difference, difference means subtraction, in the Fahrenheit and the constant 32. So you've got the difference between the Fahrenheit and the constant 32. It's not this. I've still got some minuses going on. Well, it's 5/8 right here. 5/8 times that quantity. Your answer is H. All right, the next one. Which graph best represents the relationship between the height of a burning candle and the amount of time that passes as a candle burns? Well, as time goes on, what happens to that candle? I mean, you know, you're looking at a candle with a flame. Yep, nice picture, right? The wax comes, and the longer it burns, the smaller it gets. So the more time that goes on, right here, the more time that goes on, is the candle getting bigger? Nope. Last I checked, that candle isn't going to get smaller and then get bigger all of a sudden. This one says that no matter how long you burn it, it stays the same height. H is your answer because the more you burn it, the smaller the candle gets. Now here's my next one. It wants the inequality of this graph. And here are your answer choices. Now, when you go and look at this, I'll zoom in. This is a dashed line. So I'm going to make sure that there's no equal to symbols on there. Nope, there's not. Next thing I'm going to look at is that if I start at the y-intercept and I draw a line up, that's where all the shading is. It's up above the y-intercept. So if it's up above, it means it's greater than. That one will work. This one will not. C will not, and D will. Well, they both have the same y-intercept. Here's the difference in the slope. This one says -4/3. That means down 4 to the right 3. So let's go over here to the y-intercept and go down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. Sure enough, it hits that dot. Down 4/3. Yep, my answer is D. Next, right here. Again, anytime I have a table, I'd go in the calculator, press second graph, and match it up. It's the easiest way to do it. I can do it that way, or I can build a table and do delta y, the change in y, plus 4, delta x, plus 1. I have delta y over delta x, 4/1 is 4. My coefficient is going to be 4. I can already eliminate these because these are the only two with the 4 r's. Now, when I go through to try and figure this out, I put a 4 here. 4 times 1 is 4. What do you have to do to 4? What do you have to add to 4 to get to 54? Plus 50. Well, there it is right there, C. But again, I could have gone in the calculator, put 4x plus 50, press second graph, and match those numbers in the table to see which one would be the correct answer. Okay, number 10. Mr. Ross is purchasing a table and chairs for $13.50, including tax and interest. He will pay for the furniture in monthly payments of $75. If Mr. Ross made M payments, which equation best describes R, the amount of the remaining balance? Well, he's buying it and for $13.50. Now, as he's paying for it, he's subtracting off $75 each month. Your answer should be C. The next one says the graph below represents Lynn's car trip from her house to the mall and then back to her house. If each section of the graph represents the part of Lynn's trip, which part took the least amount of time? Well, let's zoom in here kind of, and let's look. For this section right here, it took 2 minutes. Right here, or it didn't, yeah, it took 4 minutes, sorry, because each line is worth 2. In Q, it starts here and ends here, so it starts at 4, ends at 6. There's 2. R is 2, 4, 6. S, 2, 4, 6, 8. And T, 2, 4, 6, 8. The answer should be Q. Another reason is Q is because it's the steepest line. The next one, it gives us an equation, and it says to find the total cost of an order of DVDs from a certain website. The equation C equals $19.99 N plus $4.99 can be used, where N represents the number of DVDs ordered. If C is a function of N, which of the following best describes the relationship? Well, it's saying that N is constant. There is no relationship. It's not constant because you're going to start at this y-intercept and increase. Neither one of these is correct. Now, if you look at this, it talks about something is dependent on something. We know Y depends on X. But which letter is Y and which one is X? Remember, Y equals 19.99 N plus 4.99. Y and C match up. So C depends on, I guess I was supposed to put an X there, N. That's how my answer is D. Well, this one's kind of the same way, but we're talking about dependent and independent. If Y is a function of X in the equation, Y equals X plus 9, which statement is true? The dependent variable Y. Okay, I need you guys to remember that X is the independent, Y is the dependent variable. Okay? So right here, let's start even here. Dependent variable Y. Yes. Independent variable Y. Nope. Dependent X. Nope. We just said that was the independent. Then it says independent variable X. Okay, that could be true. Now, is the dependent is Y? Y is 9 more than the independent variable. Y is 9 more than the independent variable. Your answer is A. See, on D, they had it backwards. It's saying that X is saying X equals. Nope, it says Y equals. 2 more. Kimberly wants to complete at least 2/3 of the algebra problems by 8 o'clock. If she has X algebra problems to complete, which inequality can Kimberly use to determine Y, the number of algebra problems she wants to complete by 8 p.m.? At least is greater than or equal to. Right here, that works. That works. That does not. That one does. 2/3 of. Of means to multiply. Of her algebra problems. So you are multiplying the two. That's why the answer is D. The last one, the kinetic energy of a car can be described by the function KE equals 1/2 mv squared, in which the constant m is the mass of the car and v is the car's velocity. If the velocity keeps increasing, the kinetic energy will, well, let's look at this. Velocity. Velocity is being squared. That means that even if the number is positive, negative, any of that, it's doubling all the time. No, it's not doubling. It's being squared. So it's like, because 2 squared is 4. This is making sure that it continually gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It will continually increase.